It's Nolan.
Another episode of J Nolan News / Pin Game Elite Podcast. Because today we're going to get into a little bit more music business information than what we normally do. Not so much opinion based, but we're going to talk about some opinions as well. And I'm going to let you know off rip, the music industry is filled with grifters. That is my opinion for today. That really should be the title of this video because we're going to get into multiple stories. But the main one that we're going to get into is surrounding 2Pac because he's no longer here to defend himself. He's no longer here to talk on behalf of himself or his music or anybody he worked with. But there's a copyright infringement case that just got introduced, or a lawsuit rather, where one of the alleged producers, or I'll just say producers, is now suing because he was taken out of the credits, or he was removed as the primary producer credit. He's been getting a piece of his royalties for years, but he's now understanding just how much money he's missed out on over the course of the last 20 plus years. Let's get into it, man. So the article states, 28 years after its release, the late rapper 2Pac's legendary track Dear Mama is the subject of a copyright infringement lawsuit. Terrence Thomas, aka Master T, he's credited as a producer on the track, but he's filed a lawsuit claiming that another producer by the name of Tony D. Pizarro, the label Interscope, and his parent company Universal Music Group, quote-unquote, conspired to obscure Master T's role in creating this track, depriving him of what he says are his rightful publishing royalties as a co-writer. So this has nothing to do with 2Pac, but it has everything to do with his music. Crazy, right? In the lawsuit, it states, a self-serving group led by upstart music producer Tony Pizarro conspired with executives at Interscope Records and Universal Music Group, misappropriated Master T's publishing copyright and master recording copyright, and assumed the identity of writer or publisher of Dear Mama's music. Now, this song was released in 1995 on 2Pac's legendary album Me Against the World, which is honestly one of my favorites out of his catalog, right next to 7-Day Theory Machiavelli. Huge 2Pac fan, from 2Pacalypse Now, Thug Life, yeah, even the Thug Life album that a lot of people ain't heard. Everything associated with 2Pac, I'm one of them fans. Like, I definitely done been on one of them Outlaw Immortal pages and shit, right? Strictly for my niggas, y'all know. The triple platinum track has become a classic in hip-hop, and it's only one of 3 hip-hop tracks to actually be inducted into the Library of Congress registry. So this is an iconic song, and the original producer has been getting a portion of his credit and a portion of his money because of what other people did. They described the song as a moving and eloquent homage to both the murdered rapper's own mother and all mothers struggling to maintain a family in the face of addiction, poverty, and societal indifference. Interest in this particular song was renewed this year when it served as the inspiration for a 5-part docuseries also titled Dear Mama, about the relationship between 2Pac and his mother, Afeni Shakur. It debuted in April and is available for streaming on Disney-owned streaming service Hulu. The Dear Mama series garnered 2Pac a Grammy nomination in the Best Music Film category. So this one song has created so many different revenue streams for a lot of people due to the dynamic between him and his mother, which is what inspired the song, right? They explored that in the documentary. They explored his life, his music, his career, his controversies, all of those things, but it was centered around this one particular track that this producer did back in 95. Along with Pizarro, Interscope, and UMG among the various defendants named in this lawsuit also are the Walt Disney Company, Hulu, Fox, FX Network, NBC, and an entertainment company called El Matador due to their involvement in the Dear Mama docuseries. They also named Alan Hughes, who's the series director, and Joshua's Dream Music, which is the publishing company for 2Pac's estate. So he's trying to collect on all fronts. He like, y'all not gonna keep writing me out of my history. I need my check. Furthermore, in the legal complaint, he says, while defendants will invariably use the passage of time to attempt a defense, it is noteworthy that only this year has the prime suspect in 2Pac's 1996 murder been arrested. So they're saying, don't try to give me that time limit shit, because Keefe D just got arrested this year for the alleged murder of 2Pac. So if y'all could go back and reopen that case and be investigating, we can go back and reinvestigate what the hell happened with my royalties. The complaint alleges that Master T, who has been working as a New York City bus driver for the past 26 years, is not a sophisticated business person and was unaware that he was owed publishing royalties on top of producer royalties until he saw the Dear Mama series earlier this year. Master T did not until very recently appreciate that the royalties which he was deriving from BMI were actually much less than he should have been receiving had his creative work been credited as it should have been from the outset. In submitting this complaint, he's using an argument that's been accepted in some cases but not all, where the U.S. Federal Appeals Court, they issue a 3-year limit on filing a copyright infringement claim, and he claims that 3-year threshold has not been timed out because he just recently found out about the infringement, right? So it's basically saying he found out about this within the last 3 years, although it happened almost 30 years ago. According to the complaint, in 1993, Master T was working as a DJ for rapper MC Lyte, so he wasn't somebody just off the street, right? He was actually working in the industry. He was working with Lyte. Shout out to Lyte. And this is when he was introduced and met Tupac. Master T and Tupac then met at Unique Recording Studios in New York City and recorded the song Dear Mama in or around October of 1993. So this song was made years before it actually was released, like so much of Tupac's other material. From this meeting and collaboration, the iconic and historic hip-hop song Dear Mama was created. As evidence that Master T was involved in writing the piece, the complaint points to a 1996 interview in which Tupac says, "Master T gave me the beat for the song," after which Tupac wrote the emotionally charged lyrics that made the song a classic of urban music. Now, let me just stop. I always got to be specific about this. Anytime you hear a producer say that they're a writer, or when you see a writing credit, like when you open up Spotify, you open up the song credits and you see all these different names. Sometimes they're the artists themselves. Sometimes it's other writers that give them lyrics, melodies, etc. And then there's also the producer, because in the composition, you got to have the arrangement, the instruments, and all of that. That's one part of the writing. The other part is the lyrics. That's why they have composer and lyricist when you file a song on BMI, for those of y'all releasing music. The complaint also includes a handwritten note, which you can see in page 4 of their document, that was allegedly written by Tupac, which lists the tracks on Me Against the World, which during the recording had been referred to as Stay True. I guess that was going to be the name of the album, not Me Against the World, but Stay True. And it lists Master T as the producer on Dear Mama. It also includes a link to the Dear Mama demo, which includes a producer's tag naming Master T at the beginning of the track. This is interesting because they wasn't even really doing producer tags back then. So if he really has evidence of a producer tag with his name in it, he's gonna get some coin. While Tupac was incarcerated and without initial consent from Tupac and without ever receiving any consent from Master T, Pizarro took the master recording of Dear Mama and made changes at the bequest of Interscope Records, which Pizarro intended would eliminate Master T's legitimate ownership of copyright. So there's an original version of the song that he produced for Tupac where those vocals were laid. And I guess this guy, Pizarro, who was a producer for Interscope, they had him go in and make some changes to the beat, you know, just a couple distinguishable things to where he could say this is a new composition and kind of move him out the way or take majority credit for something that was already made. Now, y'all know Tupac was in prison when Me Against the World actually was released. So he wasn't able to oversee all of the delegation that went into this album. He didn't even have music videos. Remember, they released music videos of other celebrities in his shit with Coolio and Too Short and all the New York rappers. Like, they were celebrating him like, can't wait for you to come home. And then them same niggas dissed him. So given what I already know about Tupac's situation, how this album was released while he was in prison, he didn't even have an opportunity to properly finish it himself. This story lines up. Plus, knowing the way that he worked, the complaint adds, what is abundantly clear and scientifically provable is that the remixed tape reels, which were generated by the defendant Pizarro, dated July 1994 and retitled Dear Mama Remix, were derived from and are the slave versions of the original 2-inch master tape of Dear Mama created in 1993. And I want y'all to understand the slave and the master thing. They don't really use this terminology in the music industry no more for obvious reasons. But the master is the original copy, and they're saying the slave version, which is a later version of somebody else putting their hand in the mix, right? I know it gets a little confusing, but just stay with me. The complaint asserts that there is no factual doubt that the defendants Pizarro, Interscope, and Universal Music all conspired and acted together to appropriate as much of this credit to Dear Mama as they could to exclude Master T while Tupac was incarcerated and after his death. See what I'm saying? I hadn't even got there, but I knew that was what it was going to be. Corroborative proof of the collusion of Pizarro, Interscope, and Universal Music is demonstrated by the fact that Interscope's management took very limited steps to secure Tupac's release from prison. Only after Tupac agreed to sign a 3-album deal with Suge Knight's Death Row Records were any serious steps taken by Tupac's business partners. Prior to that, Interscope and Universal Music let Tupac languish, which is also very true, right? They were not making efforts to get him out. Suge Knight was the one that actually spoke to the folks at Interscope to buy him out of their portion of the deal, because Suge already had a deal with Interscope. Tupac never really needed to sign with Death Row in the first fucking place, because the money was all coming from the same corner. Suge was just like, yo, I know y'all getting tired of him. He keeps getting arrested. He keeps getting all these different, allegations placed on him. He stays in trouble. Let him come over to Death Row. I ain't got no problem with him getting in trouble. That shit is extra marketing and promotion for me. He's the biggest nigga in hip hop, and he's sitting behind a cell, and he's still selling multi-platinum. Just let him come over here. So they wrote a fucking promissory note that said they would put the money up, and Tupac got out. So if you know all the inner workings of that, then you know they was doing some funny shit with his music too, right? Clearly. The lawsuit seeks a declaration by the judge that Master T is a co-writer and co-publisher of Dear Mama, as well as an injunction preventing the defendants from collecting royalties on this track until the issue is settled in court. So they're trying to freeze all money being generated on this song until they get this figured out. The lawsuit also seeks an accounting of the money Master T is allegedly owed, plus damages for copyright infringement, unjust enrichment, and theft of intellectual property, among other changes. So if this does happen, if he gets rewarded what he's looking for, he's going to get 20 plus years of royalties that he's been shaded out of. This song plays every day on a radio station somewhere in the world, multiple stations. All them old school hip hop stations y'all got in y'all city, y'all know how much they play Dear Mama. Y'all know how much that shit get burned. It's been used in TV shows, films, all type of stuff. But this is not the only lawsuit going back in time that we're going to talk about today. This is the biggest one. This is the main one. But another group by the name of Black Sheep, who y'all remember from back in the 90s, they got the big song, This or That, This or That. They came together with a class action lawsuit against Universal Music, and they got fucking stomped out. Not because they didn't have good grounds, but because the system has failed artists once again. So last year, Andres Titus and William McLean, the members of Black Sheep, they filed a lawsuit against Universal Music, and they were alleging that UMG breached their contract with them and with other artists from that era, basically saying that they accepted lower royalty payments from Spotify in exchange for Spotify stock back in 2008. In 1990, Black Sheep, they signed their record deal with Polygram Records that gave them a 50% share of all net receipts with respect to any uses, exploitations, or any of Black Sheep's master recordings. Polygram Records folded and became a part of Universal Music in 1998. So the Black Sheep members, they feel like they should be entitled to about 50% stake in Spotify. Not alone though. They're not doing this on their own behalf. Remember, this is a class action lawsuit. So any artist from the 80s, 90s, etc. who had the same verbiage in their contract, they're feeling like, yo, we signed deals prior to the streaming era. None of our contracts actually spoke about streaming or any of this type of shit. So we never signed on to tell you we wanted our music to be on streaming platforms in the first place. So if y'all got this deal done with Spotify, y'all need to take 50% of those earnings that y'all got and distribute it to the rightful artists. UMG, unfortunately, in their defense, they said that the lawsuit was patently false and absurd. At this time, they currently own 3.3% of Spotify, which is worth about $1.16 billion. Just that 3%. The judge presiding over this case rejected the proposed class action suit on several grounds. She states that Titus and McLean took too long to file the suit, so this is something that keeps coming up, and that UMG's stake in Spotify does not meet the definition of net receipts on which they would owe royalties, and that their contract with Polygram in effect gave UMG the rights to negotiate royalty payments as they see fit. So what does that mean? It means that the 50% net receipts that's in their contract, they're saying that does not apply to if the company sells to someone else. The 50% only applies to your music. So when your music goes up on the streaming platforms, right, you guys are supposed to get 50% of your streaming royalties. And of course, that's net. There's a bunch of cross-collateralization that's going to happen before they even get their royalties, because we don't know if they recouped on their deal. We don't know what those percentages looked like outside, who was supposed to get paid off what. So it's a big clusterfuck when you go back into those old contracts. This is the way they got out of it, because there's a lot of artists that need money right now that are struggling, not living their best lives, because at one point their music was selling for $10.99, $15.99, $20.99 whenever people wanted to hear it. Now it's not producing that same amount of money. And the judge even said that if you guys wanted to come out with this lawsuit, if y'all really wanted to proceed with this class action, you should have done so within 6 years, which is the window for a breach of contract complaint. They said it took them 15, therefore the judge is throwing it out. But nonetheless, these guys are still owed money. And not only did the judge throw this motherfucking case out, but she also rejected their ability to make an appeal. So it's a done deed. They got to go back to their crib and get it how they live. Probably going to have to go on tour and do other things for the rest of their lives to get any money. And the final story I want to get into today is CD Baby. Okay. Now this, if you're not into the music industry, you're not in the business, you're not trying to sell music, you're not trying to be an artist, you're not a performer, you can go ahead and shut this video off. Okay. We're going to get into a little something else. So CD Baby is a primary, one of the big dogs in music distribution. They've been around since like the early 2000s. And these motherfuckers here have been getting away with armed robbery on artists the whole time. Now, I'm not saying they've done no good, just like the big record labels. They've done good. Some people have become millionaires and done great things in the industry off of bad deals. But CD Baby has been finding ways to nickel and dime artists for 2 decades. They just found a new way to try to nickel and dime artists once a fucking again. All right. So they just introduced a new thing called CDB Boost. Okay, and they state, as CD Baby sharpens its focus on streaming this year by ending their vinyl and CD distribution service, because that's how they started. They started as a way for artists to get their music pressed up on CDs so that you could go to shows and go around whatever you do and have them on hand. They also produced vinyls, right? Once streaming became a thing, or once you wanted to get your music on iTunes, they were one of the primary people that were allowing artists to self-distribute their music. So they did bring good into the game. But let's go into the flip side. The company is introducing a new feature to support independent songwriters in royalty collection and sync opportunities. Okay. The independent distributor just launched CDB Boost, as I said, which is the latest addition to CD Baby's suite of artist-centric tools, offering a new approach to royalty management for a one-time fee of $40 per single or album. This is why I say it's a scam or a grift. CD Baby's Boost tools include features such as mechanical royalty collection facilitated by the MLC and non-interactive digital performance royalty collections through Sound Exchange. All right, so what's the problem, right? Well, the problem is they're charging you $40 per single or album to do things that you can do yourself for free. Okay? You can sign up with the MLC right now as I'm speaking. You could open up a new tab on your phone or your laptop, however you're watching this, and sign up to the MLC with $0 investment, and you could be collecting those royalties your motherfucking self. Why would you pay them $40 per song to do it? Same thing with Sound Exchange. Sound Exchange will not charge you any money to sign up. This is for non-interactive digital performance royalties. So that means when your song gets played on internet radio, if your song is getting played on Pandora on a random playlist or whatever, or in the radio, facilitation that they do, you will be collecting royalties. But you can also sign up for that yourself. As a matter of fact, Sound Exchange is so dope. If you haven't signed up on there, but you've been releasing music, they may already have a database of your songs waiting for you to claim. They may already have money waiting for you from when your songs have been played, but you just haven't signed up to get it yet. But why would you pay another company $40 to go do this? Then every song you release with them, or every album you release with them, whatever you do, most artists are releasing singles these days. So you're going to pay them an extra $40 for every song you put out, just so that they could go collect the royalties that you should be getting any fucking way if you just signed up for the free platform. I'm not mad at the hustle, right? There's people that actually do these things and they get paid a fee. I offer the service to artists because a lot of artists are fucking blind, don't want to do the work. You know what I'm saying? A lot of artists out here just want to go in the studio and create. And it's like, yes, there is a service fee for people that are going to go do things for you. But anytime I see a corporation coming out here and trying to take money from people, and then you disguise it like it's something they need, I don't co-sign that shit. It's one thing to say, hey, You could do it yourself, because I know when I offer my service, I say, hey, you guys can do this yourself for free. But if you're somebody that does not want to do it, does not know how to do it, not interested in doing it, because some people just want to be in the studio, you could pay me a yearly fee. You could pay me monthly fee. However you want to divvy it up, I'll do it for you. And we'll actually have calls to go over what you need. We'll go over your reports. We'll talk about how your music is getting paid for, consultations, the whole 9 to go over your business structure. These folks, they're going to accept $40 from you every time you put out a song, and it's money they're not even entitled to. They're not going to do anything additional. All they have is an integration with a free platform, and they're charging you to access it. Stupid. They claim, in addition to royalty collections via the MLC and Sound Exchange, CDB Boost integrates songwriters into CD Baby's sync licensing program, broadening their exposure to potential licensing opportunities. Keyword here is potential. I would love to see how many artists are actually going to get sync opportunities with CD Baby. I'm not saying it's impossible. I would just like to see who's going to actually get that, right? Because you're going to pay them that $40 every song you put out, with the idea of, okay, they're going to collect royalties for me and they're going to pitch it for sync. But they probably aren't going to pitch it for sync, because if they don't like your song, if they don't feel like it has any potential, they're not even going to look at it. If it doesn't even have enough traction on it, who's going to open it up to say, hey, oh, this is doing numbers over there. Let's see what they got. This is why I say the music industry is filled with grifters, people that don't really have the best intentions at hand. They just see ways to keep upselling you. They treating you like a fucking customer at Target when they ask if you want to apply for the credit card. Straight bullshit, man. Now, I know the world of distribution is not easy, right? They have to maintain a large database of artists. There's a lot of cloud space that goes into all these uploads. I understand, right? And they want to make money back. They want to be profitable. But you're already profitable. You're getting yearly subscriptions from people, if not monthly. Some of y'all are even taking royalties from artists. Y'all are giving them 80-20 splits, 90-10 splits. Y'all not giving everybody 100%. For all the little micro services that your company provides, you want additional service fees for those. So y'all have avenues to make money. Why y'all keep creating little ways to nickel and dime people? That's not what's going to keep y'all in business. That's not what's going to create customer appreciation and loyalty. Niggas are going to find other places to go, and I encourage those on CD Baby to do so. Just being honest, no shade to them. There's so much more that I could talk about in this video right now, but I'm going to conclude because I feel like I've been talking for a long time and I want to go spend time with my family. So much love and respect. Let me know what y'all think of all these stories down below in the comments. I will see you guys later. Much love and respect. Hey, if you want to support an artist, a genuine artist that's going to give you nothing but unfiltered game, check out my album, J Nolan. The link is down below in the description. The only way to listen to it as of right now is if you buy it on my platform, which is the link below. It'll be out on streaming December 1st, and I do need y'all to run that shit up when it come out on streaming, or else why even release it there? All right, y'all, peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef on computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some batteries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. When I catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.